It's Song Talk Radio.
Welcome to Song Talk Radio, the show with songwriters talking to other songwriters about the craft of songwriting. We share tips, tools, and techniques, and together we all become better at writing songs. Dialing in from our Toronto headquarters, I'm Neel Modi, and with me, my co-host Phil Emery. How you doing, Phil?
Calling in from St. John's, Newfoundland. I'm very excited because I think I'm all full of tools today.
Tooly goodness.
Tooly goodness, yes indeed.
Great. Couldn't think of a pun there, sorry. Please send your comments and questions to @SongTalk Radio on Facebook or Instagram, or feedback @songtalk.ca for the email, and we'll share your thoughts on the show. And please visit songtalk.ca to see the show post for this episode, to find links to resources we mention, and to download lyric and chord sheets, follow along with songs that we feature. Tonight, no songs, but a heck of a lot of resources, so you're definitely going to want to visit the show post.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. It's just in the family tonight. We're going to be talking about useful apps and websites and things for songwriters and musicians. Right on.
Yes, indeed.
Okay. And before we get to that, another announcement for our songwriting challenge in 2025 is to write a song in an odd time signature. We just added one additional resource to our resources page. You check out songtalk.ca and see in the sidebar, there's a link there to the songwriting challenges. Check out 2025. We at home here, we just started rewatching Yellow Jackets. The new season just launched a couple weeks ago, so we started watching the show. It's a Showtime show. I think it's on Crave or something like that. But very cool show. But one of the coolest things about the show is the opening song. It's like literally a 90s grunge inspired song. But it is a brand new song, but it is actually written by 90s alternative stalwarts Greg Wedren and Anna Waronker. They're from the bands Shudder to Think and That Dog, respectively. Mm-hmm. I knew about Shudder to Think, but I never heard of That Dog. Did you know these bands?
No, not so much. I didn't recognize that name, but it is a great song because it's really catchy. Yeah. You know, it's not like it's not hard to listen to, but it's not even like it's not in 7/8. I don't know what time signature it's in.
Parts of it are in 3. There's a little organ riff that is clearly in 3. Is in 3, but there's I tried looking on the internet to see if anyone has decoded this thing, and I've found at least 3 or 4 different versions that seem to conflict with one another. So I'm curious. So we're actually putting it out to our listeners. If someone out there can listen to this thing and decode the time signatures, figure out. Yeah, I know. I'm almost certain that it's not 3/4 all the way through. If it is, then the emphasis is shifting. It's not always on the downbeat kind of thing. Right. Yeah. So maybe the 2 sounds like the downbeat, or the 3 sounds like the downbeat, which ostensibly turns it into a different time signature, but you could notate it all in 3/4. I really don't know. It's bonkers. It is all over the place.
Bonkers indeed.
But it is super catchy. It's super cool.
That's the great thing. Like, I'm always worried, like, at the end of the day, the song has to be a good song and it has to be catchy. And, you know, I think you need to make people want to listen to it, you know, even if it's really complicated or really difficult, it still needs to be attractive. And that song is a great tune. I mean, it's catchy. And if it's 3/4, it certainly is not 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, it ain't a waltz. This is the furthest thing from a waltz.
Yeah, which is great. It shows you, even if you doing something in 5/4, it doesn't have to sound like take 5. You know, it's it really opens up a whole bunch of possibilities. So it's going to be fun, I think.
Yeah, I think so. So definitely check that one out. It's just yet another example of, like you say, Phil, like a song that's pretty cool and catchy still, but at the same time is interesting musically because of the shifting time signatures and whatnot. Like, it's pretty cool that way.
Yes, and Neel, I do have to compliment you on crafting an amazing page for the the channel. It's great. I was going through it today, going, wow, do we do this? This is really good.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, I mean, it started off with the episodes that we did, and then I just continue to like add things as I see them, just pop it in there.
Yeah, it's great. It's definitely go to the page. It's on, of course, songtalk.ca. So check it out.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. All right, cool, man. All right, appreciate that. Okay, and so yeah, onto the meat of the show. So this one's kind of your baby, Phil, and this is a great topic to visit and to revisit, because people are always developing these new apps and things like that can help us as songwriters, and different resources we can use. There's a lot of stuff on there on the internet.
There is, and I was thinking about it when I started, getting into music. You could buy a book.
If you're lucky, yeah.
If you were lucky, and hopefully you might be able to meet people. But if you didn't necessarily meet people, or you weren't the kind of person to go out and meet, I think it was kind of limiting in what you could achieve, because you just had the tools that But there's so many great tools out there. And what started off is back in our before times when we were actually doing this in the RhymeZone on the radio. We did, I think, the first show of this topic, applications for songwriters. There was an application called Genie, which was for Windows and Mac, and it was a desktop application. And you would do rhymes. You put in the word, and it had all this a very complicated database of rhymes, and I really liked it. It really sort of worked the way my brain worked. So it worked really. It worked with me, and I really enjoyed it. It came with a free companion program called Tunesmith, and Tunesmith actually had a place where you would put in your songs. You could put in the splits, the people that you wrote it with, and their contact information, and also their affiliations with like SOCAN or PRO or what have you. It also had a part where you could keep track of where you pitched the song. It had a section for writing lyrics, which would actually kind of sync up with Genie, and it was really good. And I put actually most of my songs in there. But one of the issues with desktop applications is eventually sometimes they stop being developed and they no longer work.
Right.
And
same thing with phone applications, no?
Yes, and the developer, decided to stop making it, which is he's able to do. But one of the big issues for me was I put all my stuff into this program, but there was no easy way of getting the information out. So whenever you go to any of these online, especially online applications, the thing you always have to ask is, how do I get my data out? Because, these applications may last for 5 years or 10 years or 2 years. And if you have a whole bunch of data in there, getting it out can be a bit of a problem. So what I was going to do is, because in my daytime job, is we develop some very complicated web applications. And I thought, well, maybe I'll do a web application of Tunesmith. Because, it's just basically a big database, and that's kind of what I do. So I started playing around with it, and then I thought, gee, I wonder if anyone else has sort of done this before me. And someone has, and it's called Session Studio. And it's kind of the same thing. They have a number of different features, but basically it's a way of keeping track of your songs and, of course, the pitches and the splits and, that kind of thing. It's really handy. Now, the one thing they don't do, and I have been in contact with them, is they don't have a way of bulk exporting your data, which I think is a big problem. And I asked them about that. And
it's all their own proprietary format that's stored in, I guess, right? Yeah.
Now, you can export one song at the time, but one song at a time. But if you have 50 songs, that's going to be a bit of a pain. So maybe they will do it. It's at sessionstudio.com. They have a free tier and a creator tier. I think they only have two. Creator is just $5.99 or $4.99 a month. I guess that's US. The free one has 2 gigabytes of storage, song chat, playlists, audio share link, songwriting entry, unlimited song projects. You can invite collaborators, add your contact information. It's kind of handy, and most of these applications do have a free tier. And the free tier is a good way of poking around and see if you want it. And, you know, and the creator is only $4.99 a month. That's probably if you buy it once a year. But it's sessionstudio.com. And, yeah, it's a great way of, developing a list in maybe a bit more friendly way than just doing it all in just like a big Google sheet or an Excel sheet. Especially if you start doing syncs and stuff, because I think your catalog can get a bit complicated with all the different versions.
Right, and especially if you're into collaboration and stuff like that, it's a good way to keep track of splits and things like that.
Very much.
Yeah. Very cool. And does it also keep track? Can you also upload like your actual songs, like
Yes.
the lyric sheets and the chord sheets and that sort of thing as well?
Yes.
Okay. Right on. So you keep everything sort of in one place, but like you say, it's proprietary. So if you end your subscription, or you got to find some way to dump it all somehow.
Yeah, that is kind of a problem. But I mean, you can export one song at a time, so it's like one record. So it's not that bad, and hopefully they will get to the bulk. It'll get to the bulk export soon. But it has been about 6 months since I've asked them about it. So hopefully after they hear this show, maybe they'll get on top of that. So that's Session Studio at sessionstudio.com.
Very cool. Okay.
You got some too.
Yeah, I got a couple of resources. The first one I want to point out, I've mentioned on the podcast many times, I think, the At-Home Songwriting Group, which is run out of Minnesota by Chad Shank, and he's been on our show a couple of times. And he's currently a Berklee School of Music instructor, and he runs a great YouTube channel, and he runs these songwriting challenges on the regular, and I've talked about them on the podcast, and it's a really great way. I've talked to many songwriters who feel that they're in a bit of a rut, and maybe a bit of a writer's block, or they just don't have the time to dedicate to songwriting. I tell them that you should really come to this group, because it's a free community, and he does have another tier of professional grade stuff that he does, but frankly, for myself, I find the free tier quite engaging enough. and there's plenty to be busy on there, because he does these songwriting challenges that last a month long. The last one, it was what we talked about on the show last week with me and my new friend Mike from Minnesota. We collaborated over Zoom and email and stuff like that, and wrote a song together, which was a great experience, right? And it just gets you out of your songwriting rut, and it gets you to meet a bunch of other people, and the group is really wonderful, and everyone's really helpful towards each other, and it's just a great community. Yeah, so that's at homesongwriting.thinkific.com, which I guess is Thinkific is like it's like an education platform, I guess, for doing things like that. Because he does do and he publishes them on his YouTube channel as well. He does do these these group Zoom calls where he dives deep on certain topics the same way we do, and he has a slide deck and the whole bit, and provides examples, and sometimes has professional songwriters on his. I want to call it a show on his channel, and he does he produces a lot of content for sure. So definitely check that out.
Yeah, and he definitely knows his stuff.
Yeah, he's very much a Nashville 101 kind of songwriter.
Absolutely, yeah. He definitely knows his stuff. During COVID, there was this person who came up with this idea of trying to get songwriters to collaborate online. And I think this is his site that I went to. It's called SongwriterLink. And I went to it, and it's kind of weird because it has sell lyrics and poems online, which is kind of weird. And then you could buy these lyrics for 20 euros and those kinds of things. It looked really weird because there wasn't an easy way to sort of sign up for it, and it's kind of odd. So I did a bit of research, and the fellow who started this actually decided to shut the service down, but he wound up selling it to this organization called Verse and Chorus at verse-chorus.com. By the way, for those of you thinking about getting domains, having a hyphen in a domain can be problematic because people will definitely forget it. But anyways, it's verse-chorus.com. And it's a way of finding your music collaborators. And it's, they have free. It's a little weird. I think they have like ads for other musicians. And I guess it's just a way of being able to find other musicians and other songwriters. And it wasn't clear if there is a way of, you log in, and it actually has along the bottom, it has like one of those crawls that you see on like news.
Right.
Sometimes it's very odd. But so you can like put, you can make an ad to sort of promote yourself, to find out what kind of other people you're looking to connect with. And then there's showcases. You can upload your songs. And then there's messages. And then there's something called copyright, which protect your work in 181 countries today. And you buy credit, and then you upload some files, and each credit is $11.99. So that's a bit odd, but it's a way of finding other songwriters to work with. And then it has this lyric builder section where you can keep track of your lyrics and templates and things and so on. So I mean, there seems to be a free version, Love Let It, that I've been playing around with. Seems kind of cool. Again, check these out. Verse-course.com, and let us know what you think.
They've used a little bit of the stock photography that we've also used. Anyway,
true.
But they also have an interesting. They also have a pretty good blog, Songwriting Tips. There's a bunch of articles there you can peruse.
Yeah.
It seems like a lot of stuff about collaborations, but is your chorus good enough? Very good question.
Yeah, and it's it's nice about collaborating. I know, Neel, you've done lots of collaboration through the meetup, and just because of my situation, I haven't had a chance to do it. But it is something I like doing, because I do miss working with other songwriters, because it is a lot of fun.
It is, and it really puts you in a place where. I've said this before too, especially with band I'm in with Base Shelter, when I collaborate with Addy. It's like, you come away from a songwriting thing and you go like, I never would have written that song up on my own.
Exactly.
And he could say the same thing, and then most collaborators can't say the same things. I never would have done this on our own, but somehow you get together and it just creates this new sort of thing. It's a great experience. Absolutely. Really cool.
So what's your next one?
Let's find my little list here. So as soon as we started talking about this, of course, I started seeing things on my YouTube channel. So this channel that I wasn't sure of, I wasn't aware of before. The video was called "Why I Use the SongbookPro app," and it's a British singer-songwriter, and she was showing how she uses this app called the SongbookPro, and it's similar to the one you're talking about, Phil, where you can upload your songs and lyrics, and there's also another page in there for like the metadata, like the songwriter credits and splits and all that sort of thing. One of the really interesting features she showed of this thing was that, say, you write a song in a certain key, but then you bring it to your band and someone else is going to sing the song and they want to do it a step up from what you did it. So you can just go in there and say, this song is on capo 1, and it takes all the chords that are written, your lyric and chord sheet is together, like the chords are written above the lyrics, yes. and it flips the chords into the new.
Very handy,
whatever, right? Or for the lead guitar player, for instance, or it just writes on the sheet capo 1, and it turns your audio, because it also plays back the audio recording if you had it, and as well you can play with the key signature and the tempo as well of your audio recording, so you can use it as a practice tool as well if you just want to slow down a section just to learn the part or whatever, and then speed it back up, or just test it out at different tempos, and it's not the old school, tempo changing where it changes the pitch. It just keeps everything normal. So yeah, it seems like a pretty cool app, and the YouTuber claimed it was like £5 or £6. So what's that, $10-12 Canadian?
Yeah, that's
to buy it outright is not a subscription, which is kind of a relief these days.
That is true, actually. Yeah.
You buy it outright and just use it.
Yeah, the subscription does get kind of annoying after a while because you wind up having so many subscriptions, and it's
it really adds up, and especially if you're not doing it all the time. Like if it's part of your business and you're using it constantly, then absolutely. But if it's something that you're visiting every now and again, then it hurts a little to be paying a subscription when you're not using it.
Yeah, that's true. And a lot of songwriters, we go through some spits and spurts. There's sometimes when you're doing lots of stuff and then life gets in the way and you don't do anything for a while.
Yeah.
So it'd be nice if you could pause your subscription. Yeah. That's, I wouldn't mind that as much, because then okay, well, this month I'm going to have time, so I'll spend, the $6 for this month. But
yeah. We kind of do that with the streaming services. We go on and off of them because there's so many of them now, and it's like we don't need all of them at the same time. I can't even keep track of what's playing on what anymore. So, but then when we come back to Netflix a year later, it's like, oh, everything's fresh and new now.
That's true. Actually, that's the way to do it, I think. Yeah. So, what is that? How do you get to that?
So that one, gee whiz, I never found a link for it. But we will provide a link. SongbookPro.
We'll probably go to the App Store.
Yeah. It is. She showed it on. It is for SongbookPro. Oh, look, it's another hyphen. Songbook-Pro. Yeah. You really didn't need the hyphen. Verse chorus, I could see how you might want the hyphen.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
SongbookPro, it could have been one word. Anyway.
Well, you might not have been able to get the domain.
That's true. But
then that's a problem because someone's got to go to the other domain. But
soon enough we're going to start seeing semicolons in domains.
Is there only is it iOS or is it?
It's iOS and Android.
Okay.
It says that in the thingy there. Oh, where did it go now? Anyway, it said iOS, Android.
Okay.
So it seems like a pretty cool app if you just want to buy it once and.
Yeah, well, you should buy it. We should buy it all just because for that reason only,
Cool.
So my next one is Soundtrap at soundtrap.com, and if you don't happen to have a sort of a DAW, this is an online DAW, and now it's not free. It's $13 a month for the lowest one, which I will be honest seems a little high, because that by the end of the year that's like 100 and something. At which point you're going, well, you probably do a full DAW, but it's actually a pretty powerful DAW. I was playing around with it for a bit, and the quality comes with a really good quality library of beats and vocal samples and sounds, and you can record to it, and it's quite responsive. Actually, one of my old production machines is like a 2015 iMac. And it was very responsive in that. So it's pretty decent. You can go for free. You can only do 2 tracks for free.
Oh, geez. Yeah, that's
but you can play around with it and you get, you certainly get a sense of it. But it's a full-fledged DAW. I mean, if you have a Mac, you have GarageBand, which is quite capable. And I think, there is a bunch of free ones. I think, is Bandcamp still free?
Cakewalk by BandLab is still free. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. It's not being developed anymore, but it is. They're doing, I guess, just fixes and update and things like that. But it's not being. But it's pretty fully featured. Yeah.
Yeah. It's. I think it's only Windows, but anyway.
So is this one cross-platform? Is it Windows? And Mac?
This one is because you can just it's online, so you can do everything online.
Oh, that's right. It's literally online. That's right. That's
yeah.
Right. Okay.
So that's kind of handy as well. But actually, you Neel, you suggested it's BandLab. That's different than Band. That's different than your thing, right? Cakewalk?
No, Cakewalk. Well, BandLab owns Cakewalk.
Okay, it is. Okay, I was.
But BandLab was there before they bought Cakewalk. I guess they had their online DAW before. I played with it a little bit. It was okay. It was okay. The biggest advantage, I think, is because when you record stuff and it's already in the cloud. So if you want to collaborate with somebody on the platform, and they have forums and things like that, you can just shoot it over without having to export anything. You just send them your session, and everyone's using the same platform. So, it's easy to collaborate that way.
Because at bandlab.com, they do have apps for iOS and Android. It doesn't say anything about Cakewalk, so maybe that is.
Yeah, I don't know how much they're pushing the Cakewalk thing anymore. Because they do have Cakewalk Sonar, which is a Windows only DAW, which they are updating and stuff. But the BandLab subscription, I didn't look deeply into it, but as far as I understood it, it was like a monthly subscription where you get the latest DAW, you get like the desktop downloaded DAW,
right.
Sonar, and you get like all their loops and all their AI tools and things, and all their and as well you get like a distribution service.
Yes,
so that's
they
also
offer a lot
in their thing. Yeah, so it's actually for what it, I'm not even sure what it costs, but for the monthly subscription, if you need all that stuff, then hey.
Yeah, like it comes with sounds, beats, mastering, Song Starter, which is an AI thing, effects. Splitter, which I think helps you pull, the songs apart into the various tracks. Distribution, licensing, contact and fan reach and opportunities and industry connect. So it's a pretty powerful little program. Although I'm looking on the website and I can't figure out what the price is. Which is really annoying. That's something I want to know. Okay, is this
I know.
free? Is it $100 a month? Just let me know. But
it's not. As far as I know, it's not obscene, but it's not. It's not something I went into for sure.
Yeah, but BandLab. Yeah, I was very impressed with BandLab.
Yeah, they got a lot of good stuff actually.
Yeah. So do you have another one?
Yes, I do. It's a website I've been on and off of over the years, Hooktheory. Hooktheory is just a really cool website. I mean, I don't even think they have an app or anything like that. It's just a great resource, right? Like I think you can create a membership on Hooktheory and get access to all their tools and stuff like that. But they've got analysis tools for learning songs. Hookpad. You can create songs. Beats and musical ideas, built-in music theory. They're very music theory oriented. Obviously, it's Hooktheory. Music theory books. They got a thing called Chord Crush, which helps you learn chords by ear, like ear training.
Oh, that's handy.
Thing and actually, they do have a thumbnail of a phone here, so I guess it is mobile, a mobile app as well. So it's just a really good resource. Like every once in a while, you just Google something and it'll turn up, the answer to that question, especially with music theory stuff, is on Hooktheory.
yeah. Well, Hooktheory's been around for a long time, I think, too.
Yeah, they've been there for a really long while, before our podcast started, for sure.
Yeah. Yes, believe it or not, kids, there was things before our podcast. Yes,
there were things before us. Not a lot, but
not much. No.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's great. If you haven't perused about Hooktheory, definitely take a look at it because there's a lot of cool things on there.
My next one is something called Feature.fm, and this is more about once you have your songs and you're wanting to sort of grow your career and your fan base. It's kind of like a tool to help you connect with. As far as I can tell, it helps you connect with your existing fans. It doesn't seem to do a lot of outreach as far as I can tell. But they have artist bio links, release links. They have, tour and event links, short linking, which is, a lot of things do that. They have pre-save links so that, people will pre-save your tracks, before they're on various streaming sessions. and they have like a contest and unlock pages and does some interesting things. Yes, they do have quite a few things. I've been doing some research on how effective it is. It's something I haven't done, mainly because in my world I can do a lot of those things naturally. So I would just sort of build my own tools to do that stuff. But if you don't do that, it actually makes sense. They have a free tier, and the basic starts at $8 a month, which is pretty good, and all the way up to Pro Artist for $39 a month. And I'm sure that's once you're maybe if you're touring and you've kind of gotten to that level. But they have like custom stores and I guess insights and ways of contacting your fans and interesting. So feature.fm.
You got a domain name with you get a domain name with the artist.
Yeah.
I guess a domain name doesn't cost you $19 a month, but yeah. like $19.
But again, if like for Neel and I, we like getting a domain and setting up a website isn't a big deal. But if you've never done it before, it's like, well, how do I do it? And you can just do it through this one platform, and it does make things easier because you should be spending more time basically making music than fussing around with all this tech stuff. So there's something to be said for that.
Very much so. That's why BandZoogle is pretty successful, I think.
Yes.
There's a lot of kids can do it for very little effort.
Because BandZoogle is
it's a website for your
website. Yeah,
it's a website for your artist, and it's a store, and it's all those things, right? It's all the stuff.
How does that compare to Bandcamp?
Bandcamp is really you have an artist page, but BandZoogle, like you can have your own custom designed web site with your own store, so you can have your own merchandise and all that stuff. I know I won't say many, but I know several artists that use BandZoogle. And it seems like a pretty good service,
Yeah.
It would cost you less to, like you say, to build your own, but it's a heck of a lot more effort.
It is actually.
If you've never done it before.
Yeah. Well, and this is it. You can either do the stuff yourself, which is fine, but, there's something to be said if you wanted to be actually a professional musician is to hire people who do this because you should be spending your time making music, not building tools.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and the same thing you can even argue the same thing about production. I mean, some artists, musicians are just not into the home studio thing. Yeah. So you go and hire a producer, you hire a studio to help you produce your tracks. Like, it's whatever your tolerance level is for how much DIY you want to do.
Yeah, that's true.
Right. If you want to do it all, go for it. and fair enough. And many people do that. But I think you're right when it comes to marketing and developing a website, things that are outside the normal music creation area, then it gets it gets a little tougher to do that.
In the old days, I mean, most musicians didn't do their own marketing. They got hired by a label, and the label would do it for them and charge them for it. But still, they didn't have to have the skills because other people had the skills. So,
Yeah, it's very much evolving. It has been for a long time now of more DIY and to be honest, easier DIY tools than it used to be.
Oh, absolutely.
There are ways to do things yourself that are much easier than they were a generation ago for shizzle.
No, you kids don't know what you got. So what's your next one, Neel?
Where'd the list go? I got too many tabs open now. Okay. So you mentioned Rhyme Genie. I've never used Rhyme Genie because I've always gone to RhymeZone. RhymeZone.com, free website. And the great thing about RhymeZone.com is you put in your word, and there's a little drop down that you gives you the option of what type of rhyme you're searching for. So they've got near rhymes, they've got synonyms, they've got related words. Antonyms, similar sounding words, similar spelled words, homophones, phrase rhymes, match consonants, anagrams. Like, you can literally search on anything, right? Most of the times I just do a near rhyme, and it gives me a whole bunch of stuff, because it also gives you, phrases that like two. Like, instead of just multi-syllabic words, sometimes they give you, actual phrases that you can pick out of, and it's a great way when you're doing that sort of keyword exercise. When you're trying to develop your lyrics, you come up with a bunch of keywords. You enter each keyword into RhymeZone or any rhyming dictionary, really, and come up with a bunch of words. And you go, oh yeah, that's a great idea, because that relates to my theme, and I can pull that out and develop another line, and then start putting together some kind of a lyric. It's a great tool. I admit I haven't used it as much as I used to. But it's still when you get a little stuck, it's like, need a rhyme there. Okay. see what we can do.
My next one is a website which is very impressive, but it's actually kind of really hard to figure out exactly what it is. It's called Unhurd Music, UNHURD music.com, and it takes a while to figure out what it is. It's actually a bunch of marketing tools. And they have they have all this movement, and if you're just going to go to the site and go, okay, what it is, what are you offering, and how much it is, it's hard to figure out. But it's I think they have some good tools in marketing, promotion, some TikTok strategy, digital advertising, that kind of thing. Is this all AI driven? Again, it's hard to tell. They have a free tier and then a pro tier for $9.99 a month, which is not much. So maybe it is. But people seem to be able to get some value from it. But so I mean, that's actually doing. The other one we were looking at seemed that it's like once you had the fans, it helped you sort of interact with this. This seems to be a little bit more about growing your fan base a bit. Oh, okay. Yeah. That's what I kind of figured out. But I've actually looked at this website a bunch of times, and it's still hard to. It's guys, just because something looks good doesn't mean it works good.
No, of course not.
But it does like that, streaming strategy, digital advertising. So it can really help you sort of, get out of, just doing the do yourself. And it doesn't seem to be that much. So again, that's Unhurd Music at UNHURDmusic.com. So,
and that is the one thing about all these subscription services. You can always try it for a month or two.
Yes.
At pretty minimal cost and see how it works for you, right? Because like you say, if you've already got the fan base and you want to promote a little bit of your latest thing, or you're trying to grow, like, it depends on right tool for the job kind of thing, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
And the subscription things do give you chances to try it out fully featured, because often these programs that you download, the trial versions, often they're limited. You can't save for whatever, that sort of thing.
That's right, yeah.
And you're kind of, you can play around, but you can't really do anything. Whereas a subscription, they give you the full featured thing.
Yeah.
For a full month, and you can play with it as much as you want and actually produce something real.
And if
test it out in the real world.
Yeah, for $9 a month, I mean, I would buy like the subscription for 1 month and play around with it for full, because that's not that much of a chance. And that's one of the advantages versus buying a desktop application, like buying, if you want to buy Cubase. I mean, at one time it was like $700. Yeah. It's nice to be able to play around with something to see if you have a real use for it. So. Yeah.
Sometimes it takes it takes some playing around to really decide that if it's good for you or not.
Yeah, and it might be great for someone else, but not so good for you. So what's your next one there, Neel?
Okay. The next one I have, we mentioned a few minutes ago, BandLab's splitter tool, which is free to use. You don't have to necessarily subscribe to their thing. You can do a number of splits per month, and then by splitting, you just mean you upload song that you want to study, say, a commercial song, and it'll split apart like the vocals and the guitar and the bass and the drums and other instruments and things like that. And you can download them as separate recordings, which is a handy tool. I've used it a couple of times just for that. I mean, it's not necessarily, I mean, doing that, you never get the best quality. It's not, literally the stems that were recorded in studio or whatever. The AI engine does its best, and it's never perfect, right? But there are many splitting tools out there, and they are increasingly getting better and better and better. And this one's perfectly adequate for. I just want to pull out that guitar line just so I can hear that melody separately and study that, or just study, or just be able to analyze the vocals by themselves or whatever. It's handy for that sort of thing.
Especially if you're trying to, learn a guitar part or a piano part, because sometimes, it's got lots of other stuff and you can't quite figure out what the voicing is. And the voicing can have a big effect on how, the melody sits within the song. Yeah, it's a good idea.
Yeah, so that's basically what I've used it for before. I mean, I think other people have, used these splitting tools for sampling and stuff like that. So you can actually pull out that drum groove or whatever, or the little guitar lick or something, and use it in your productions and things like that. Of course, there's licensing issues around that, but that's a whole other issue.
I did hear. Speaking of which, I heard Chuck D talk about. Their masterpiece, Fight the Power. And he says, we cleared the samples, most of them. But there's so many, they had like teams of people going out and finding these samples, and there's just like hundreds of samples in that thing. So.
Right. We cleared the ones we could.
A fun little thing I found was LyricStudio at lyricstudio.net, .net. And it's songwriting inspiration engine. So it's basically, you can give it some inspiration, or, you can tell what kind of a musician you are, and if you're intermediate, and what kind of styles you want. And it's a neat little program, and it helps you kind of come up with some ideas and. It is quite a neat little thing, lyricstudio.net. And, if you're ever stuck for some ideas, it's worth it. I'm not sure what the pricing is.
Plans.
$7.99 Canadian a month.
Yeah.
So depending on what you need.
Yeah, depending on what you need, and hopefully it's like one of those. It's like a tailored version of ChatGPT or whatever. Yeah, that's more tuned towards good lyrics. Because right now, if you go to ChatGPT, the time I tried it, it wasn't good.
Yeah,
but it gave me a bad first draft. So hey, but certainly something that's more tuned to that. Somehow then. That's probably a good thing.
Yeah.
Interesting. Very, very cool. Okay. And speaking of AI tools, the last one on my list that I've only tried once, Suno, which I'm sure people have heard about. And it is really quite remarkable because you literally, what I tried Suno for was I had a lyric. I had the song written, but all I gave Suno was the lyric, and I said, produce me an electro pop version, dance music version of this song, and it came up with something. It was fully produced and everything, and even our songwriting collaboration that we talked about on the podcast last week with Mike, just for giggles, I uploaded our lyric to that and asked for a singer-songwriter folky version of it, and. It wasn't the song that we wrote, but it wasn't bad. So Suno. What is it? Suno.com. Suno. Any song you can imagine. But what a lot of people are doing, without even a lyric, type in the song idea you want. And of course, with these AI things, of course, the more specific you are, the closer the result you'll get to what's in your brain. And you can't assume that the Suno knows everything that you're thinking. So you have to be explicit and you have to be clear about, I want a fast tempo male vocalist,
Right.
acoustic guitar with a drum, in the style of,
Right.
somebody. Joni Mitchell, male vocalist in the style of Joni Mitchell. That might be interesting.
That's true.
So and you could do things like that, and it's somebody sent me a country song they wrote on Suno, and I was like, you can't tell you could have convinced me that this wasn't a real singer.
Wow, that's amazing.
It's pretty wild.
That is something, that's for sure.
Yeah.
My last one is Songcraft.io, and it's a collaborative platform for your lyrics, chords, and tabs and recordings. So you can set up an account, and then you can invite other people to collaborate with you. And it helps you set up tabs and chord sheets and lyric sheets and so on. It's a nice one. It seems very very straightforward. There's a basic tier with up to 5 songs, and it also comes up with like exercises and some other things. And the Pro for $5 a month, which is pretty cheap, and unlimited songs, video, collaborations, and version histories, and save progressions and custom string tunings, and and as like printing, so you can print off your sheets and so on. And so that's not a bad little for $5. That's pretty good.
It's pretty neat. I wonder if it keeps track of like who edited what kind of thing.
Yeah, that's a good question. I do not know. Yeah, that could be handy actually, to sort of hear what you're doing. Yeah. But it seemed fairly like it didn't seem like too hard to use. Like it's very kind of straightforward, and I think it has some power, but it's not like it almost seems like it's a blank sheet of paper. So you just start typing, and that's kind of handy as well.
And it's got a rhyming dictionary built in. Looks like.
Yeah.
Huh. Clever. This is the sort of thing that I could have worked with Mike on actually for a collaboration. Because like we did what seemed natural. Let's just you do a Google Doc and open it. But I wouldn't say it got messy, but it got a little bit like where's the latest version and which ones are we working on, and
yeah, exactly,
sort of stuff. Like you have to sort of keep it really organized yourselves.
Yeah.
That sort of thing. But yeah, it seems like a kind of a cool tool to have like it all centralized somewhere. It's kind of
neat. And I think the price point is pretty good because like 5 times 12. That ain't that much,
Yeah.
So it's worthwhile. It's a pretty focused service. What I liked about that, and what I liked about the website is you went to the website and you knew what it was.
Yeah, it's very clear.
And some of the other ones,
and you're right. It's very focused. This is literally for songwriters who are collaborating.
Yeah, and it's very easy when you're doing these kinds of things to start adding features because everything is just a big database, and you can start building features on anything. But then it becomes unwieldy, and it's better to have.
Yeah.
This is what it does.
Songwriting collaboration, and we'll master your recording.
Yeah. We'll help you set up. We'll help you set up for your shows.
Yeah. We'll do your Instagram posts for you.
Yeah. So anyways, I think we've got some really good apps for you to check out, and if you happen to find something that we haven't covered and you think is great, send us an email at feedback@songtalk.ca, and we'll share them with the listening audience.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we'll even add them to our show post, suggestions from our listeners, sort of thing. So we give you a shout out on the show post if you want to send us your favorite tool, whatever you're using.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So I'm sure in a couple of years we'll do this again because I'm sure there'll be some new tools out there that people can use.
It'll all be AI run at that point. We got a few this time. Last time we didn't have any, I don't think.
That's right. We'll be
We got a
AI.
couple. Yeah, we got a couple. Yeah, exactly. We'll just be replaced by robots. We'll be fine.
Hi, Neil. How are you? I am very
doing
good
fine.
in St. John.
Tirana. Okay, I think that's all the time we have on Song Talk Radio. Special thanks to all the apps and all the tools and all the
Thank you,
wonderful
apps.
resources out there. Thank you, apps. We want to hear from you too, so send in your comments on Facebook or Instagram at songtalk.ca or send us an email at feedback@songtalk.ca. Once again, send in your suggestions for your favorite app and we'll be sure to feature them on the show post. Be sure to check out our YouTube channel for live performance videos and full episodes and subscribe today to the Song Talk Radio podcast on your favorite podcast provider. And please support us at our Patreon page. You can visit songtalk.ca/support. Thanks to all who have supported us so far.
Yeah, it's been great.
You can
Thank
find
so
links
much.
to all the products, books, and web services we mentioned on Song Talk Radio on our resources page. That might do for an update now, hey Phil?
Oh, yeah.
And please join us at our next monthly Song Talk meetup. Whether you're in Toronto for our in-person meetups or anywhere in the world for our online meetups, it's free to join on meetup.com and free to attend the meetup, bring a song, a lyric sheet, and get constructive feedback from other songwriters. Stop by songtalk.ca. And of course, we're very happy to announce that we are resuming in-person meetups in Toronto at the Imperial Pub for this month in May. So go to the meetup page and the Eventbrite page as well. And check that out and hope to see you at the Imperial.
Oh, wow.
this month.
Great times.
And, yep. You can follow me at neilmodi.com. You can follow Phil.
PhilEmery.ca.
And be sure to stop by the website, songtalk.ca, to browse past shows and find out how you can be a guest. Thanks for tuning in and keep on writing.
Keep on apping.
On Appian. Okay,
Cool.
that was awesome.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's a tight show. Yeah, some really cool
Great
apps
stuff.
out there, man.
Yeah, there's some amazing things out there.
Yeah,
They're really putting in the effort to make these cool programs.
yeah. Well, and I guess the key is to actually spend enough time with one so you get good enough so that you start getting results as opposed to just going from one to the other.
Yeah, and hopefully it enables you to do stuff faster,
Yeah.
more effectively, better than you were before. Because if before you were happy muddling around in a Google Doc and emailing MP3s to each other, maybe one of these things is a better solution for that,
Yeah, that's true.
and then it just speeds up the process and makes it all snappy and easy and kind of delightful to use. Like it might be kind of fun, right?
Yeah, no, there's some really cool stuff. I'm very impressed with how much stuff BandLab offers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they got a pretty good thing going there. They are a little. I mean, that's part of the reason I poured over to Studio One. BandLab seemed very unsure about where they were positioning themselves. Like it was weird what they were doing with Cakewalk, and it's like they weren't really being transparent about the price, and they weren't really being transparent about, is it going to be a one-time download? Do you have to buy all this other stuff with a subscription if all you really want is just the DAW? It was like this weird, sort of thing. And at that point, I was like, got a good deal on a Studio One license. See ya.
Yeah.
That was pretty much it. Although I still pop in a Cakewalk every once in a while.
Yeah, well, it's that whole sort of free thing is challenging, and at least usually often nice. One thing I think about Windows is Windows is so crazy about backwards compatibility. It'll probably work for a long time.
Yes, it will.
Where Apple says no, your programs no longer work. You have to update all your programs.
Yeah, and I still know people who have a dedicated PC just for music production. I used to do that. I don't do that anymore. I've got one slam bang computer that does everything. Yeah. As opposed to before, I had two mediocre computers, one for like internet stuff and one for music production. But why not just combine the two and get a good computer?
Well, that's true. But one of the advantages of doing the dedicated one is that you wind up with a program that you don't update. It just works.
Yeah.
And you learn how to use it really in depth, and you just sort of use it, as opposed to, oh, I have to update these plugins. Oh, I'm going to try this one, and I have to update, just you spend half your time futzing around as opposed to actually doing music.
It is very true, and yeah, half your time troubleshooting and trying to figure out stuff. But yeah, goes with thing, I guess.
That should be bad. All right,
cool,
I'm actually going to be in Ottawa this weekend.
Oh, fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but I'll probably get to this on Monday.
Excellent. Sounds good.
Awesome.
All right. Enjoy your time in Ottawa.
Yes, and hopefully you'll get to your meeting on time.
Yeah, I should be okay now. It's just upstairs. So.
Oh, okay. All right.
All righty.
Take care.
All right. Have a good one. Cheers.
Bye.